What's going on, guys? I just wanted to give a quick update on what happened with my first thru hike. I was all packed, ready to go, super excited, and then a series of unexpected events happened which prevented me from being able to set out on trail. Even my backup plan failed, but ultimately a portion of that trail turned into an awesome, epic adventure for both me and my son. Come along with me as I go over what happened, as I talk about some lessons that I learned, and as I give some tips that will likely help you on your next backcountry adventure, or maybe even your first thru hike. Last night I had finished packing and I was super stoked to be heading out today on my thru hike. I was running up the stairs and I caught my flip-flop on the edge of the stair, and honestly it threw me. I smashed my left elbow, can't even bend my arm right now, smashed my left elbow into the railing and it's in major pain. Every little movement is just causes a shock to go up my arm into my shoulder. So now I pulled into the Instacare and I'm gonna go get it checked out. So wish me luck. After they read the x-rays, they were able to determine that it was not broken, but there is a bunch of arthritis and a bunch of bone spurs in there. I did tweak my elbow quite a bit, and so there's some inflammation going on. And I was hoping I could get out on trail in a few days after the inflammation had gone down. And then another unexpected event happened.
Fire watch continues tonight with the Beulah fire burning in the high Uinta Mountains right now.
I rescheduled for a week later to leave on my thru hike to give my elbow some time to heal and to feel a little bit better. I couldn't even put on my backpack or lift anything with it, so that was a bad deal. But then this fire, the Beulah fire, broke out in the high Uintas, and I wasn't really concerned so much with the fire, the proximity to the trail. At the time it was further than this, but as of right now the fire's grown. And now it's about 3.2 miles, and I would be crossing that area about this time had I actually done the trail. The biggest worry though was my not wanting to be in the smoke. That smoke map that I had been watching on Onyx Backcountry, as you can see here, it's just really, the smoke is covering all of the trail that I would have been on, and spending day after day on trail, breathing that smoke just wouldn't be super good for lungs and just respiratory system. I had met people on trail just recently and they were bailing. They were saying they were just getting out of there because the smoke was so bad when they were up there camping. And so I just didn't really want to deal with that. And I'm really glad that I didn't take the chance and get up there and have some issue and just have to bail anyways. And just a lesson that you have to kind of just be prepared for any environmental change. Sometimes you want to, have the ego and say, I want to go and do this, and I want to make sure to, I've planned it, I've spent so much time, and I get that, like spending so much time on the planning and the prep, and you tell people you're going to do this nice cool trail and they're asking you about it, and then you have to explain why you didn't do it. But you have to just be okay with that. You have to just say, you know what, I'm not going to take the chance, I'm not going to go and breathe that smoke. And that's exactly what I did on this one. Just another thing to consider, a lesson that to learn is definitely just watch for those environmental things, floods, fires, whatever it is. And then a tip for that is just to monitor those conditions. That's what I was doing. I was monitoring the smoke maps. I was looking at different websites. I was looking at Onyx Backcountry and just monitoring those things to be able to see if it would be feasible for me to get out there. And it just wasn't. The smoke was just covering the whole area most of the time, and I just didn't want to deal with that and have all those particulates in my lungs. Rather than lose that time and just waste it, I had prepared a plan to do a shorter 36-mile hike with my son. There's just this loop. We were going to hit a bunch of lakes, 21 to 23 lakes, and try and fish all of them. And that was something that we were both looking forward to and just wanted to get out there and do that. And so we set out, and started that trail. The thing I learned from that is just being flexible, is just knowing that, you know, there are other options. If it doesn't happen this year, it can happen the next year, or, you know, whatever the timing is. So that's a tip as well, just to be okay with it, roll with it, and make something the best it can be. While we were on that 36-mile trail, we had gotten about 15 miles in or so, and I just realized, man, I am so exhausted. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I had been hiking a bunch, I had been conditioning, I had been acclimated to higher elevation. I'd been spending nights up in the high Uintas at those elevations, and I don't know what it was. I just was completely exhausted. Maybe it was just the fact that I was doing a longer day, and I realized that maybe day in and day out for the next 8 days probably wasn't a good idea. And so I kind of look at it as maybe a blessing in disguise that I wasn't supposed to go out there, and I wasn't supposed to be on the Highline Trail, because I probably would have just bailed anyways because of my physical conditioning. I've been doing a lot better, but I do have a long ways to go. So next year I'm hoping to be able to just lose a ton of weight, get in way better physical condition, and be able to knock it out. Now, I will say that the decision to cut the 36-miler down was based upon an accident that both me and my son's only 14, he's almost 15, and he's in very good condition, and he was even feeling kind of exhaustion. I was hiking up the trail and I tripped, and I, you know, landed on both of my knees, hurt my knees.
You okay? Are your knees okay?
And then about 10 minutes later, my son fell as well. Now, his wasn't due to exhaustion. He was doing parkour on all the rocks and everything, jumping around, but he lost his footing and fell and hurt his knee. And so we looked at each other and we just said, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to cut it short. We looked at Onyx backcountry, and we saw that there was a cutoff just in about I think it was about 2 more miles down the trail. We were able to cut off and go to an area we knew we wanted to get to anyways, and do a lot of fishing in some rivers. And that turned out to be awesome. We both did a lot of fishing. Here's another one. That's another pretty one. Bye-bye, buddy. Nice.
Yeah,
check that out. Another beauty. Go for it. We both caught tons of fish. We probably caught, I don't know, actually caught about 50 fish and hooked about 50 others. It was just a really sweet spot, and we just had the time of our lives. We turned an unfortunate, unexpected situation into an epic adventure, and something that we will never forget. Just had so much fun. It was so beautiful, and we just enjoyed our time out there. And then we hiked out and ended our trip a little bit short. We ended up doing about 20 miles that whole time, and didn't do the 36-miler, didn't do the 105-miler, but we still walked away with maybe even a better experience than had we tried to push it. A lesson that I learned about this backup trip and being exhausted and just feeling like, yeah, it's not wise to just continue pushing through, was that, you know, I need to really be real about my stamina, my physical abilities. Maybe I overestimated, and that's not good, to overestimate your abilities. I have been feeling really well. I've dropped a ton of weight. I'm over 40 pounds lost now since the first of the year, which is amazing. And I'm feeling really good. However, I realized that I'm not to the point of pushing, 16-mile days for 8 days on end, or even 14-mile days or whatever, multiple days at a time. My body just isn't there yet. I am working on it. I am going to get there. But my tip is just to make sure that you are not overestimating your physical abilities either. Don't let pride, don't let ego get in the way and start to kind of make decisions for you, because that's disastrous. I did that. I was like, I've been planning this Highline Trail for 2 years. I've been wanting to do this. I'm feeling good. And I just was like, I'm going to do it. And kind of deep down, I think about it now, and I feel like there was some real kind of warnings for me, and probably shouldn't have even been pushing for it. But I will say that I did learn a few things. I learned a lot, things that I, tried on trail, things that I, dialed in, more with my backpack, all my gear and everything. So it did push me to that point. So that's something that I learned as well. If you really do want to dial in your gear and you need something to push you to do that, plan a through hike. I'll tell you, that will get you dialed in really quickly, because you'll spend a lot of time thinking about every single little thing, what you want to take, what you don't want to take, what you want to switch up, what you want to keep, things that are essentials. I'm going to be doing a video on some of the things that I will change and some of the things I'm going to go back to, some of the things I tried, some of the things I'm not going to try again. And so just stay tuned for that video and some of the other things that I learned in this whole process of planning my through hike. If you had a trip change that you were looking forward to for a long time and you just ended up not being able to do it, tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience and what you did with it. You can turn anything into a good experience. The fishing, the hiking out there, being with my son, the relationship building, everything that went on with that was so awesome. We turned a potentially negative into a definite positive, an epic adventure. I hope you all are staying safe out there. I hope you're able to get out there and enjoy the nature, the backcountry, everything. And most of all, that you're staying safe out there.